Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television and Radio Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You can find us on television. We are on Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And now we're on the radio, the power station right here in South Carolina. They are a country station. And I'm loving those folks. They are absolutely great. So thank you guys for letting me be part of it. And it's 92.9 FM on the dial. And you can also find them online. They do the everything to be able to find them. But they are wonderful, wonderful folks. And thank you guys so much for letting me be part of your family. I definitely appreciate that. And continue sending email. You know how that just really makes my day. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Appreciate you doing that. I have my friend Rick Staines, who's been with me for years and years and years. It's been not long. But thank you, Rick, for being with me on the show. You're the one person that I can actually be myself with. I can tell you things. I can tell you, like, an event happens, world event, whatever, and I can tell you what I'm thinking. You don't think I'm too crazy. You think I'm crazy, but not too crazy.
No, I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy at all. You know, I actually respect and admire you for what you've done. But yeah, you're still a woman. So.
No, don't start.
I'm not going to start on that one.
Don't you go there.
No.
Don't go there.
I'll get started. So it's okay.
Yeah, folks, this is, off the camera for that one, okay? But again, Rick, thanks so much for being with me. I definitely appreciate it. Yeah, okay. But I want to talk to you about, and you and I have been, like, I didn't know what you were thinking about Charlie Kirk. You didn't know I was thinking about Charlie Kirk, about the whole thing. I have too many questions, and people say, Donna, you're suspicious, you're, whatever. But I'm just telling you, it has fake written all over it, but I'm not sure where the fake is.
Yeah, and the fact that you ask questions is good. I think there's loads of people out there that ask questions because none of it makes real sense. What they want you to believe and what you believe and what you don't believe are all so different because there's a narrative out there. And then, you catch things online, and again, some people tell me, oh, well, you watch too much TikTok, you watch this, too much this, you watch too much that. And it's like, yeah, but, that's where the real stuff is sometimes. That's what you get to see, the things that no one else is showing you or telling you. And I saw something today where they were actually working with an actor and getting him to go through his lines about seeing Charlie Kirk get shot, and then they'll go like, no, you've got to slow it down a little bit. And so you go like, okay, so, and I talked to somebody else yesterday actually about this, and he goes, there are crisis actors there that you've seen in other places. And I'm like, yeah, it's quite a common thing. When they want certain things, they bring in actors to play the parts. And they're normally ones that you put in front of the camera to sell what they want to sell you. So I don't know. It's just crazy.
So why? I mean, why would you want to do this? I'm sure it costs gazillions of dollars to stage something like that. So is Charlie Kirk really dead? Did he really die?
Again, I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, you have to say, for instance, yes, I believe that he is, but you could also go, did Hollywood and Hollywood technology get involved because they removed that camera behind him, and that camera is the same they use when they do performances on stage and they want a hologram of a person, not a real person. And it's so good, you can't tell it's a hologram. So, and why was that taken away straight away? One of the guys, Charlie Kirk's laying on the floor, bleeding, probably dead. Mm-hmm. But you don't care about that. You go for a camera. And there's a handoff as well. There's so many things that are going on that you have to ask questions because none of it makes sense. Where were the ambulances?
Yeah.
Where's his death certificate? Where was he buried or cremated? You saw a big thing going on in the stadium, but that's the only thing you saw. Okay, why did he sell his house, family house, for $5 million a month before he got shot? And again, you start asking questions. So there's so many like things coming off of this. You can go down a rabbit hole and get lost for a long time.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though. So if it's someone who is in the public eye big time, like he was, okay, versus someone who's not in the public eye, it's okay to ask questions. This doesn't look right if you're just a regular walking around gumshoeing person. But when it's someone who's in the public eye, we're supposed to accept it as it is. And I have a hard time doing that. When Russia-Ukraine war came up, all the Hollywood people and the notable people were pulling for Ukraine, which made me want to second guess it, because I'm like, there's got to be something in it for them to be pulling for Ukraine.
Yeah, and it's the same with governments. Yeah, it's the same with governments. Why governments all pulling for that? And you have to then go do your research. You have to go do your historical research and wonder why we got to the point we got to. And it's the same with with when somebody gets taken out, like he got taken out. It's a little bit like 9/11. We've spoken about 9/11 too. You just start looking at the background of it, what was going on. Normally it involves money. Invariably it involves money. So you start following the money. And that'll lead you to the sources normally that are pulling the strings. And you also got to look into it, like, so for instance, his wife. I know we talked briefly offline about his wife. Okay, so what do her parents do? Do you know what her parents do? They both work in government.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
They both have links to the Defense Department, okay, and Israel. So again, you got, okay, well, that was kind of unexpected. So you know where she's sitting and where they're sitting. And then he comes along and says something that, because they're involved with the Israelis, he says something that kind of points a finger and then start worrying about where money from his company is going, why it's going here and why it's going there. He's now created a problem for himself because he's made himself a target.
Well, there are people who have different places in the government who are making bukus of money, and we're all paying for it with tax dollars. That's why Trump is so hated, because he wants to stop all this nonsense. And then you have to wonder, is he on a stage? Shakespeare said that, the world's a stage. So you have to wonder about something. I even find myself wondering about him.
Well, because if you think about it, it's very true. I mean, just because he's president and because he is outspoken, but we know that he's been and seen what the Democrats want us to be like, and that's why he ran for president, and that's why he wants to do that. But he doesn't have the control that he'd like. That's the trouble. People think that he wants to be a dictator. He doesn't want to be a dictator. He just wants more control to give us, I guess, more freedoms and be the country we're supposed to be. But he can't do that. At some point, there's going to be someone's going to come along and go like, well, you can have this, but we want that. Because that's just the way politics works. It's always going to be a tit for tat. You want this or we want that. Let's come to agreement in the middle. Always.
Yeah, but is the president really anything more than a figurehead? He's almost like the king or queen of England. If you look at it in a sense, think about it this way. He can't do anything without the Congress. I mean, that's why they need control of those. And even then, when they got control of those, they still don't have the power they think. So it's again, it's like beating yourself up all the time. I mean, like you're fighting each other. We're fighting each other. We're anti-left, left or anti-right. And we're beating each other up, and they're just sitting there going like, yeah, we'll just let this run out, because that's what they want. They want the war of faction because it keeps them where they need to be. They want more divided. Yeah, because the government shut down, but all those politicians are not. They're not worried. They're still getting paid. They're still getting their healthcare. They're still getting everything that they are due. It's the menial people. It's the small people that don't get what they want. And I'm beginning to sound very much like some kind of revolutionary, which I never thought I would be. But when you start looking at the big picture, you go like, really, this is how it is. The only way you want to get, the only time you want to get into politics is because it's going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for everybody else. It's going to be good for you. Look at Trump. Even if he went into politics and said, okay, I'm going to do it for me, okay, he would be fine. But he didn't. He said he's going to do it for us, do it for the people. And because he wants to do things for the people, they're giving him a real rough ride because we don't count. But why haven't they? I mean, okay, so there's supposed to all he's supposed to, be practically best buddies with Epstein. Okay, first of all, if he were, I mean, you and I have talked about this before. If he were, he would have never even become president to begin with. They would have gotten that, and really, because every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, really? Well, then why wasn't that the first thing you used?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just use that to begin with?
Because at the time, see, and you're right there, that's what they would have done. But right now, it's another way of like, oh, well, let's just hinder them. Let's just keep bringing this up. Because it's like having a spoiled child that can't have the ice cream. And they keep asking you for ice cream. Just keep asking you for ice cream. Just keep asking you for ice cream. Eventually, you're going to go, like, just have some ice cream. Because that's just the way the politics works. They just keep beating you down with constant,
Yeah, but I would say if you can't beat him down by now, you're never going to do it. Because most people could not have withstood all of this being taken to court, being indicted, and all that stuff.
Right.
He did. I mean, he sailed right on through it. And the funny thing about it, he's such a marketing genius. He used it to his advantage. I mean, it's just like, okay, so he's, his picture's made. He's in jail, whatever. And the look, he used that. People wearing T-shirts. I say T-shirts around here, all over South Carolina. People are still wearing that T-shirt.
Yeah.
And it backfired big time.
And think about it. I mean, what's after this for him? I mean, after this, he's done. If he can build it so that we can hand off to Vance or somebody else, and it remains in the Republican hands, then great. But after this, he can just go away and enjoy the rest of his life. He doesn't have to worry about anything. So anything they're doing now, even with I still love it when people bring up, well, he's got 34 felonies. Like, well, he hasn't got 34 felonies. If you really look at the law and what they did, Letitia James is going through the same things right now. She's got the same charge, and they're not going to do the same to her. They're not going to take that little misdemeanor that has gone past its point of no return, bring it back, turn it into 34 felonies, and then take you through a court and try and convict you of those 34 counts. They're not going to do that to her, but they did it to him because they wanted everybody to say there's a felon in the White House.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was like, are they going to do anything when he leaves? I doubt it, because there's no grounds to it. I mean, there literally isn't. I mean, I think it's actually been pulled to the side.
I mean, Bill Clinton, if you want to say that, Bill Clinton was a felon in the White House.
They're all felons in the White House. If you look at it in reality, I mean, even now, James Comey. Okay, yeah. Look how quietly that was all done. His arrest and everything. With Trump, it was all over the news because it was like, we want this on the news. With Comey, they don't want that on the news because they know that touches a raw nerve. Because I'm adjusting my camera here. That touches a raw nerve, and I can't do anything with it now. Okay, see if I can do that. Nope, don't want to do that either. Okay. We're just going to have the long shot. So, because it was so close to what was dear to them, it goes under the radar. It's quiet. If it's anything to do with the Republicans, then it's going to get.
It's exploded.
It's going to be put out there. It's going to be big. It's going to be a big deal. So.
I mean, no doubt. And then, okay, so I mentioned Epstein. Okay, so I have a friend who actually worked as a security guard in a prison system. And so when that happened, when he was hung on toilet paper or whatever he was hung on, hanged himself, she said, that's a lie. And I didn't know anything about the prison system. She said, no, let me tell you why it's a lie. She said, first of all, you're going to get canned if you fall asleep for 1 minute when it's a suicide watch, somebody like that. And she said, I'm just telling you, there would be nothing much stronger than toilet tissue in that cell with him. His clothes are white cloth. It's nothing that you'd be able to twist and be able to hang yourself with. She said, that's the way it is. She said, that man was killed. And she said, there's no way the cameras would have all went out. No way. No way.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things. If you go back to the Charlie Kirk thing, you go back to the 9/11 thing. I mean, again, we're talking about it yesterday. Okay, so you've got the Pentagon. The Pentagon is what? It's where all the military are. It's like, and they've got cameras all over Washington. And the only thing that still survives is, I think it's like 3-5 seconds of video from one lone camera, because all the rest of them apparently stopped working. And I told this person, I said, have you actually seen the photographs of the Pentagon after the attack, directly after the attack, when there's like it's like a 16-foot hole. No wing marks, no engine marks, no tailplane marks, no debris, no nothing. I said, that was not a plane of that size that hit that building. Plain and simple. And anybody that tries to tell me any different, prove it. Because there was no debris.
Then I knew another military guy who said that when 9/11 happened, he said that you couldn't have had a plane going into a building and it just crumbled down like that. There is no way. It could have taken off a couple of levels wherever it landed, but not all the way. This thing went all the way, it just crumbled all the way down.
From the core. And then, because they're talking about the heat from the jet fuel. Okay, so after the building got hit, right, and there was the explosion, why were there still people hanging out of the window right near where the holes were?
Right.
So they
would have been so hot.
Yeah, they would have been incinerated. They wouldn't have been alive if the heat they're saying that was caused, which still wasn't enough to melt steel, got down to the core and destroyed the structure of the building. So none of it makes any sense. We're just getting told what to believe, and if you ask questions, then you're you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, I'd rather be a conspiracy theorist because most of the conspiracies have actually been proven to be true. And when they released the stuff from for Kennedy, there was the playbook they were going to use for the Bay of Pigs. And if you actually read it, you go like, they used that for 9/11 because someone goes, well, what about the 3,000 lives? I'm like, they were mainly foreigners. They were mainly foreigners working over here from foreign countries in a financial building. 3,000 people for what they wanted to achieve was an acceptable loss. And that's the way they always look at it. They just look at it as an acceptable loss. If they can push what they wanted to push, which they did, they wanted to.
For God's sakes, they pushed Biden on us. Anybody with any kind of walking around common sense whatsoever knew there was a problem with him. I mean, poor guy. You remember you and I were talking about this? I was saying this is elder abuse. What kind of a wife would put her husband out on the stage like that? This guy has some terrible issues.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We live in a crazy world.
He's okay. It's just Joe being Joe. It was like, so he's supposed to be the president of the United States?
Yeah, it's almost like Keir Starmer in the UK. I mean, and if you watch that guy, he's just such a fop, what we call a fop. I mean, he is literally just like useless. And I love it when Trump humiliates him. I love it when Trump makes him, like the other day, he called him over, said something in his ear like, oh, Britain, where are you, or something like that, and then turn around and put his back to him, and he had to like kind of walk back into line like, I've just been told off. And like the Brits are just going like, oh, Trump's such an, and you're like, no, your leader is an idiot. The government, he like with all the stuff that went on with the prisoners and release of the live prisoners. Okay. So what did Britain do? What did Keir Starmer do like a couple of weeks ago, knowing that this negotiation had been going on for a while and that Trump was trying to get these hostages released? So he comes out and basically says that they recognize the Palestinian state. Okay. And the Israeli foreign minister actually said and named him, him and Macron were two that you almost ruined this by putting that out there. Because you can't say stuff like that. Because once you do stuff like that, it's just not the right way to do. It's not diplomatic. It's not great diplomacy, and could have actually messed up what they've been working on for a while. And the guy's just a fool. But he bowed down to his government. Because what they do is they're bowing down to the voters, the Muslim voters in the UK, because they know that they're going to vote Labour if they come out and say stuff like that. So we're playing to the votes like they do over here.
But you got to think about it this way too. I mean, before he got older, he was already making buffoon, decisions. And think about this. You remember the time he gave away where the bunker was, and he was VP then, so he was VP, and then Obama was president, and I know Obama wanted to smash him several times. He just said so many bonehead things. And then he got it out about same-sex marriage and stuff like that, relationships, before Obama did. Remember, he got that out, and it kind of forced Obama to have to go, yeah. I mean, kind of forced that out of him.
I mean, again, not great choices. I mean, the one I always remember, it was what was his name? Oh, I was just thinking about him. He was Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle was another gem that they pulled out of somewhere and said, "Oh, he'd be a great one for being deputy, the vice president." It's like, just imagine if the president goes down and you're dealing with that idiot. Come on. But wasn't that Jimmy Carter? Wasn't he Jimmy Carter?
Jimmy Carter, yeah, who was another knucklehead.
No, Jimmy Carter. I think didn't he have Dan Quayle? Because Dan Quayle was a Democrat, right? I'm trying to think now because it's so long ago. But you just go you start worrying about the choice. I mean, even to be honest with you, with Kamala, and the word salad, the word salading was
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, the word salading from that woman was just like amazing. And then she's slamming Trump for being a communist, but then backing the guy in New York who is a communist.
She's just something else. I kind of miss making fun of her. But yeah, she was something else. But this is what I've noticed throughout the history, except for Trump, except for him. Yeah, it was Walter Mondale for Jimmy Carter. Walter Mondale. And there was another bonehead. Okay, so this is what I noticed throughout history, except for Trump, is they want to have somebody dumber than they are. I mean, to be the VP.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whoever the president is wants a stupid person to be the VP.
Well, they're having a good look at it right now. Yeah.
And they did it. Yeah. So who could be dumber than Joe Biden? Kamala Harris.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I would rather have Biden, and that was bad, but I would rather have Biden than her. For goodness sakes.
Yeah.
And now she's written this book. Nobody comes for it. She's not selling any of them. I mean, probably, somebody, whoever.
But again, she got slammed for that book because there's a lot of plagiarism in it, and untruths. Because that's just
Joe Biden. But Joe Biden did that. You remember when he ran for president back in the 70s or the 80s? He ran for president. He was quoting other people. Yeah. He was saying and acting like it was his idea. Like he came up with this great speech, and there was like the Russian president. He quoted him almost verbatim what he said. So I mean, it was just over and over again, and then just goofy, like saying he had 2 degrees in law and he finished at the top of his class. Well, they did a little bit of investigating and they found out that he had 1 degree and he finished at the bottom. I mean, he did not finish at the top. Okay, even back then, you could go back and do a little bit of research, and you could see that somebody was not what they said they were.
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is when you start saying things that are in the the public forum, and people can look it up. I had a friend of mine once told me he'd won the George Medal or the George Cross. It's the same thing. And I said to him, really? I mean, because you have to do something, pretty amazing to win that in the military. So I said to him, do you know it's a public record? So I can go in there now and check to see if your name. He goes, well, it won't be my name because I was working undercover.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, well, what was your undercover name? He goes, well, I can't tell you that. I said, well, you're not working undercover now. You're out of the army. So it doesn't really matter. So if you tell me, and he wouldn't tell me. I said, that's because you're lying. Because your name his name wasn't on the list. I said, and now you're telling me that it's this other name. Because well, I can't tell you in case they find me. I said, but you're not that person. That was a made up name. I said, so do they give it to people with made up names, or do they give it to the people with the real name? Because when you start asking, I said, so you've gone down a rabbit hole where you're lying now. Just tell the truth. You didn't get the George Medal. It's a public forum. You can go in there and check. And when people tell you like, "Oh yeah, I did this," and you go, "Okay, well, I'm going to go check that."
Yeah.
How many times do you, when you're talking to someone and they say something, do you Google it now, or do you do a fact check on it? Because I get fact checked all the time. My wife does it all the time. She'll fact check me. She'll literally do it in front of me and go, "Well, that's not right." Well, it is, but okay. So
Yeah, but think about this. Okay, for all the people who just didn't care or whatever when Joe Biden ran for president the first time, okay, that was on tape. And this is back when even the liberals would run you down. I mean, they're even the liberal media were talking about this. And I remember that there was I forgot how many people were on this panel, and they were talking about Joe Biden telling a lie that he did. And they said lie. They didn't say, "Oh, he misremembered." They did none of that nonsense like they do now. So even the panel of people, even the libs there were saying, "Well, he's one and done." They were saying that. Now let's fast forward it. Okay, he wound up being the president, and even though that material was still out there, I mean,
but even then, that's all conveniently forgotten, because then you remind them, like, "Oh yeah, well, that was in the past. Don't worry about it." No, I do worry about it, because
that's only for Democrats. It's only for Democrats when you're in the past.
Yeah.
So
well, it's like when they. Do you remember Trayvon Martin? Mm. Okay, so what they said there is you can't look back into his past to make a judgment on him now, and it's like, why not? Because surely his past is going to reveal why he is that person now and what he's got to. There was a police officer this morning, actually, I was watching him on video, because he's so tired. They caught another team with a gun in a crowd. And he goes, "I am so tired of the parents going like, he was in the wrong crowd." No, your son or your daughter is part of that crowd.
Yeah.
And therefore they are part of what you are putting out there. You're not doing your parenting job right, because we're continually finding this, but you're trying to then turn around and say, "Oh, they just got in with the wrong crowd." No, it's not true. You're just not doing your parenting right.
So Phil and I now are on this. We watch Gunsmoke reruns. I mean, we go through this, that we're just watching every one of them. And the reason I love watching Gunsmoke is Matt Dillon called it like he saw it. There was not like when somebody was being a jerk, he would jerk them around and he'd go, "No, you're not going to do that anymore." I mean, it would be none of this. But nowadays, when you watch a real crime drama, a real crime one, this is what the cops have to say. They go, "I'm going to take you in, okay?" They'll say, "Okay." And I'm like, "Why are you saying it that way? Why don't you say I'm taking you in?" Do you have to ask if it's okay? Did I take you in? You just killed 50 people. Is it okay if I take you in?
But again, that comes down to, a government system, a system that wants to defund the police and then wonder why things are happening, especially if it happens directly to them. They go like, "Well, why are the police not out?" "Well, because you defunded them. You took all their money away." You know what that actually means? Do you understand what that means? Why don't you just call your psychologist or your psychiatrist to come over and talk to you about what's going on and see if you feel any better?
I want to go back to Charlie Kirk again. And I'm just saying, and it's really, really good that his wife could forgive like that. I mean, it really is. But I'm just saying, if something happened to your wife or if something happened to my husband, what would you and I be on the stage saying?
I think if you were a real person and you were really in love with somebody, and that you cared about them, even in the smallest iota, you'd have a lot more emotion than that was shown at the Charlie Kirk one. There was a lot of, like we said, a lot of tears, a lot of looking to the heaven, a lot of all that. It just seemed like it was very, very staged. There was no raw emotion. If you see people who, find out their loved ones have died, whether it be their husband, whether it be their children, you can't fake real emotion. You can't fake it. I mean, you're not worried about what camera's looking at you, what camera angle, how you're rolling your eyes, how your makeup looks. You just are emotional, and you cry. You cry. You let out. However you emote, you do it, and you do it for real. It's not staged, and that's the problem.
I'm having a hard time getting on that bandwagon. I'm just having a real hard time with that. There are just so many things that just don't feel right.
Mhm.
And I'm going to use this for an example. Okay, so I like to watch real crime dramas and like the real thing. And you'll see something maybe where somebody's killed somebody's daughter or somebody's killed somebody's wife or they've killed whatever. And I'm just telling you, they're ready to come across the courthouse and get the person who killed their kid or the person who killed their spouse or whatever. And then the ones who are just kind of like, well, I guess I forgive them. And then you find out in 1 month they're marrying somebody else. I mean, those, those are the ones that kind of like, couldn't you feel? I know not everybody grieve like I would. I didn't want to tear the guy's head off. But
that happened last week with that guy who finally tracked down his daughter, 15-year-old daughter. He ended up tracking her phone and finding her with a 60-year-old man in a truck. They pulled, and he managed to get him off the road, and he pulled his daughter out and then just shot the guy in the head.
Well, I'm sorry, I would have to do the same thing because I would not have any kind of trust with.
Yeah, now he's up for manslaughter because he used excessive. I mean,
I would have to have more trust with the legal system.
Yeah. But you can't trust the legal system. That's the problem. See, the trouble is us as regular people, we look at it as, the law is the law. And I learned this a long time ago, with Mexis, is that the law has no emotion. There is no emotion in the law. It either is or isn't. And if you can persuade whoever there is either one of those, you're going to win. There is no emotion in it. It literally is a wording, the way the wording is, and if you can make the people on the jury or wherever believe what you want them to believe, you will win. And then it's just a case of, if you change certain things, parameters within the law. We've seen it done with Trump. They changed the parameters. They just moved a couple of goalposts here, there, and everywhere, and they turned a misdemeanor into 34 counts, felony counts. And you go like, how does that happen? How does that work? And people go like, well, he's a felon. If they can do that to him, what are they going to be able to do to you? And you're lauding this, going, this is okay. This is our justice system. Okay? Justice system is there for us. It's there to protect us. It's there for us to use as a tool. If it then comes back and it's fighting you, or it can be used against you in that negative manner, then you've lost.
Yeah, but some things that people have done will never die down. And let me give you an example of that. Okay, so we had 9 chickens, okay, and we were hoping they would all be hens. Well, guess what? We got 2 roosters. But there's one rooster that's kind of having his way with the chicks. And so you know what we've named him? Wild Bill, after Bill Clinton.
Okay.
With that, let's go into a break. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Donnas Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show where truth matters. Thank you so much for every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zones. We get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always such a fun show. You know, a lot of folks have asked, we're getting some good feedback here in South Carolina, and about why would I sponsor with you? Well, I have first of all, I baby my clients. I mean, really, I literally do. We have like no contracts. I mean, I have sponsors who've been with me for years, multiple years. And other things, we just have fantastic guests. And Rick Staines is one of them. And he's like, I think you've been with me longer than everybody.
Was it 2005?
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah, this year was the 20th anniversary.
Yes. Yes, when I was like pulled into your world and the women's show. And I tell people all the time, I mean, to be honest with you, people are like, you did live TV? I'm like, yeah. They're like, you weren't worried about it? No. I love the fact that it was live. I love the fact that there was that spontaneity, and I could mess with you guys because the camera would always end up at one point, come back to me and I go like, welcome back to the women's show, because it was kind of like a win-win. If I got you guys laughing, then they'd like point the camera at me. But but
here's the most embarrassing episode. You remember the woman at Gigi Pets? She was one of the sponsors, and she was in Anniston, and so she would bring pets over, periodically. So she brought a ferret over. Embarrassment. It was like live, and you know how the camera guys were there. I mean, they would just, whatever happened, they would not turn the camera. Well, the ferret was being a ferret, and it used the bathroom on the table. And so they kept the camera was like right on it. So I just got a piece of paper and just kept talking and put the piece of paper over it.
That's good TV. People want to see ferrets having a pee or a poo.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the way the world is right now. I mean,
Yeah, but it was a little bit different 20 years ago. Not much, but a little bit. So anyway,
yeah, I know. I mean, but the thing is that it was actually like for me, because I was in, it was a new country for me, so it was like, very fresh and different. But it was kind of like very freeing, very liberating for me, because I mean, even now people go like, well, you should do this. Well, what I should do and what I do are two different things. But I do love the fact that we did that, and I was part of that. Because when we did the other ones for the A1, when you did the one-to-ones, and I did that one where I was showing you what you had in your handbag as a weapon. I remember one of the police officers stopping me in the mall goes, "You're going to have to stop doing that." So he goes, was it Dill? I think it was Dill. He was like, "Yeah, you can't tell people what they got in their handbags." I'm like, "Hey, I'm just doing it for the ladies."
Yeah, you finally gave up, didn't you, and just said, "Why don't you just sling the person at them? They'll kill them."
I actually saw a video on the other day where it's like this woman was walking along. This guy came up behind her, went to grab her, and she turned around and literally lamped him with the bag. I mean, he went wobbling over to the fence, and she just like put the bag over her shoulder and was looking at him, going like, "Yeah." And he couldn't even walk straight.
You go, girl. You go, girl. Yeah, those were some fun shows. I really like doing those. They really were.
I had a blast. It was always good because it was always good coming up to the studio, and it was also the couple of times when I know the one time when I did it from New Orleans, I was going across the lake, and we did a live broadcast with me, from the disaster zone. So.
But those were fun times. They really were. Every once in a while, I hear from Tom Williams.
Okay. Well, at one point I actually dated Alison, that was on the show.
Oh yeah, yeah, Alison, the massage therapist.
Yes.
I bet that's the only reason you did it. You got free massages.
Actually, I only got one massage from her all the time we were dating. She actually would let the students massage me because I go to the college and I'd take up anything that was like a postponement, and I'd jump in that spot. And there were some that were really good at it because I just said to them, I said, "Look, you can be as rough as you want. Just don't touch my feet unless you pre-warn me. Don't touch my feet unless you put." Then I'll wire, because you'll find out if you touch my feet and don't pre-warn me. But they used to I'd fall asleep and they would be pounding me. They're literally just like, so hard. And just
that stuff works. Yeah. I mean, it literally works. And so I had I got complimentary ones all the time, because I let them on the show all the time. And so the first time though, it wasn't Allison, it was somebody else. And they said, you're really tensed up. There are knots on top. I've never seen anybody with so many knots on, in their muscles and what have you. Mm-hmm. And she said, "Why are you so tense?" And I said, "I didn't know I was." It's like an everyday life for me. I thought you were supposed to. That was just me being me, I guess. I don't know. And then she said, "Do you feel better?" And I said, "Yeah, I feel a little bit too good," because I wanted to just sleep. I mean, it was
that's a good massage because I went to one when I was in Rhode Island way back in 2021, and the guy said to me, he goes afterwards, he goes, drink plenty of water, because he goes, all of that stuff that we've just released, he said, you're going to want to sleep.
Yeah.
And boy, did I want to sleep, because it was such a good massage. You just go, oh, that's so good. I'll find a park bench or something like that in the middle of the mall. But good massage will always make you want to fall
those
asleep.
Are good. Those remedies work. And people want to, for years. There was a chiropractor who was one of the sponsors. Mm-hmm. And so I said, "Well, what's the biggest deal you have to overcome?" He said, "Being a chiropractor, they think we're a witch doctor or something." He said, "I don't know why people," and I believe in chiropractic. I mean, they know the pulse points, they know all this stuff. And what's happening, this is another great lie, is that, those things don't work. Herbs don't work, all this kind of stuff. And they want you into pharmaceuticals. And they want to get you addicted to pharmaceuticals because too many people are making money from this.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, so I went to a place in Michigan called Nuka, which is it's basically, they deal with, it's not the normal chiropractor. Basically, they so you go in there, they do like a session with you where they literally scan it's like everything up. It's like thorax and above. So they scan you, and then they look at where you would need alignment. And all they ever do is literally work on your neck here. And they got like these little poppies that just run it along your neck. And you know what? I at first thought this is just hokum. They're making money at, but because I had one girl that used to work on me all the time, and she was lovely. I mean, lovely girl. I mean, beautiful nature. When she left, I stopped going. Not because I didn't want. She knew what she was doing. I didn't trust the other people, and that's the problem. When they change personnel and you don't get somebody, because the guy that started doing me was like, I didn't feel the same. It didn't make me feel like when she did it. She was always like got it perfect. And I come out there and I said, when I want to kick a stone across the car park, which I haven't done for a long time, so I know I'm feeling good. And that's how I always used to feel when I came out of there.
Well, yeah, this thing called reflexology too, and it's pulse points basically with your hands. But come to think of it, my grandmother used to almost do something like that. So she loved working outside in the garden. That was her deal.
Right.
So she would come in and she would just get a piece of ice and put a piece of ice on her wrist like that, and it cooled her off. And this is in the 60s when not many people had air conditioning back then. I didn't.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, it's funny. It's funny when you think about it. I mean, all the stuff. I mean, I've got a book of herbs and spices and for doing ailments and everything like that. I'd rather go down that road. And I've told my doctor loads of times. I said, look, I don't want to take pills. I'd rather do it the natural. So I found the problem with a lot of my inflammatory stuff was sugar. I cut out sugar, and I don't have the problems that I used to have. I mean, it doesn't mean that they go. It just means that they're very rare. But by cutting out the sugar, because I used to love donuts. I still love donuts, but I just don't eat donuts anymore. I look at them lovingly, and I'm like, okay. It's almost like an ex-wife where you go like, yeah, okay, no. Because I know what it's going to do. Whether I have one, whether I have three, if I have all 12, I'm going to be bad, and it's going to be bad, and I just don't want that anymore. So sugar is definitely like one of those ones. I always thought it was like tomatoes or tomatoes. But it's not. I mean, I won't eat too many of them. As long as, but again, everything in small doses is good. It's fine. But sugar.
Well, I tell you, having asthma was a revealing thing. And I was working at a radio station. You were there. The guy smoked like a chimney. It was in Fort Payne. And, there was carpet on the walls, carpet on the ceiling, on the floor, and it was good sound barrier. But the problem was,
I remember that studio.
And it stunk. It was always embarrassing to have guests over there. It was just one of those things. But anyway, I developed asthma from working there. And so I go to the regular doctor, and she said, how long have you been smoking? And I said, I've never smoked. And she said, smoker's lungs. And I said, oh, it's the guy that I work with, this guy. And I said, he smokes like constantly. And she said, well, you've got to quit working there. And I said, I can't. The show's popular and all that. I've got to stay there. And she said, well, then you'll die early. And so she referred me to a specialist. But the specialist, it almost felt like the Charlie Kirk thing. It almost felt like they were selling me to a machine. And one of my stepfathers had a breathing machine. And all I could imagine was walking around with this breathing machine alive. I can't do that. And so I asked the pastor's wife, was actually a nurse, but she had a doctorate degree in nursing, and she taught classes. And so I said, I got to ask you a question. I said, about this breathing machine, and I told her about it, and she said, don't do it. And I said, okay, so I feel good about it. She said, because they're acting like I'm trying to kill myself for not buying this thing. And she said, you'll get addicted to the machine. You'll not know how to breathe on your own. If you do that, don't do it. And I said, well, what can I do? And she said, find some herbs. She said, there's some good herbs out there. So the trick herb is ginger root. ginger root does it every single time. I mean, it's now I always have asthma, but what I mean is now it's under control. You remember some of those shows? I would have to say, "We got to go into a commercial break." I would be like coughing my head up.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is I mean, and like we touched on before, it's like the old ways sometimes. I mean, it's a little bit like, okay, I mean, even the old things that used to be said and why they were said, it's like fossil fuels. It was actually one of the owner of the petrol businesses that came up with fossil fuel because he made it sound like it was going to run out. So, like, let's sell it now. So, because people, oh yeah, let's buy.
Let's do that. Hurry.
And it's the same with the pharmaceuticals. Once they realize, this is free medicine. It's out there. You can grow it. And you look at COVID. When COVID hit, what did the first thing they stopped in Michigan? You couldn't go to a garden center. You couldn't go down the garden aisle. You couldn't buy tools. You couldn't buy seeds. You couldn't buy anything to do anything in your garden. You were not allowed to be self-sufficient. If you have self-sufficiency, if you have access to stuff that's free, they're losing money.
Mm-hmm. That's the only way to look at it. And this is for years I've been saving seed, and you can keep them in your freezer; they'll last forever. As a matter of fact, I kept the seeds my granddad had in his freezer, and he died in the year 2000. Mm-hmm. And so I planted some bean seeds that had been in the freezer for probably 30 years, and they came up. So they will last. I mean, they dig up tombs, in the pyramids. They dig up tombs because with them being buried with seeds meant something religious. So they would actually have seeds in there, and they've planted some of those, and they have produced.
It's so this is going to be controversial. So the other day I was watching a clip where the doctor, whatever he said, he goes, the funny thing about like immunization and vaccinations is that you're more likely to die from the vaccination, from the culture they're putting in you, than the actual disease they're putting in to kill. Which is like, when you think about it, it's kind of crazy, because it's like, how often do you hear of all of these diseases coming to fruition? You don't. And people go like, yes, because of vaccines. Yeah, well, if it's because of the vaccines, I get it. But right now we don't have any outbreaks. But the vaccines don't stop spreading anything. It just stops you getting it, if you're lucky. If it doesn't kill you going into your body and being in your body and taking host. And I'm like, this is like a really weird conundrum, because I'm not an anti-vaxxer. But it does make you think about what is really necessary and what isn't.
Yeah, but this is the question. Okay, so why? Because I have had it before. It's just been like decades since I have. But every time I would get a flu shot, I would get sick. So why do I get sick taking it? I mean, I would actually get the flu.
Because they're giving you the flu. They're giving you the flu. But they're giving you an old strain of the flu because they have to guess to what strain of flu is coming out. But that's kind of... It's an open-ended question, open-ended thing there, because you can't guess correctly. So they're giving you an injection for a flu that existed last year, but that strain's already mutated into another strain.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. And they're going on last year's data.
Yes.
That's the point. It's not this coming year's data. Well, something else is going to spring off. It won't be that particular thing.
It's like when people were dying of COVID, okay? And again, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and he's a knowledgeable guy, and I said to him, I said, the reason why people were dying of the COVID, and I'm talking COVID as in what they were telling you was COVID. I said, basically, look at it like it was flu. I said, but if they were actually serious enough and they put them on a ventilator, it was actually the ventilator that was killing them, because it was the wrong treatment. So if you went on a ventilator, basically your lungs were going to crystallize and you were going to die. You're going to stop breathing. Okay, and even now you can find that they go like, yeah, we messed up, we did it wrong. Had they listened to certain people and gone the way that they should have done, there probably would have been less. But
Grandpa who was out there just yelling at people, don't do this, don't take those shots, don't take the jabs, don't do the ventilators. He was begging people not to do that. And he's a crackpot. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing.
They've already...
He knows. Now we know he knows.
Yeah, they've already it was a body, a panel that was set up, but they've already designated it as it was the mRNA, which was actually part of the COVID jab, was actually a weapon of mass destruction. Mm-hmm. And I believe now that there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, there's more heart attacks going on. There's people, I mean, even if you look at, I like the way they call them soy boys now, the soy boys, the you know, the 20, 30 somethings that, you know, they look very effeminate. They are very effeminate. They don't have, and it's like, was that part of the deal too? Uh-huh. Are you taking away the testosterone and replacing it with estrogen? Are you making it more so that they don't want to procreate? They don't want to have, you know, or they can't have babies. They can't produce. So you just wonder, because, you know, look at Bill Gates and what he wants to do, and all these other crackpots and what they want to do. And you go like, we live in a messed up world when they just want to control the population. Yes, the population is massive. You know, what, 8 billion people? Mm-hmm. But is it crazy massive? I mean, you come over to America and there's loads of space here. There's loads of space in other parts of the world. It's only in the congested cities that it's really bad. But is that worthy of taking into account we need to just wipe out billions of people? In the old days, it used to be world wars. You know, they'd have a world war, and that controlled a whole generation of the whole generation would die. You know, World War One, a whole generation like literally was almost wiped out. But
COVID was the war. COVID was World War III. Yeah,
you know, and they're already saying that there's going to be another pandemic. I mean, and again, they even described COVID as a pandemic, and you go like, well, it wasn't really a pandemic. You said it was a pandemic, but it was maybe an epidemic. But was it even that? Because I think that there was more scaremongering, you know, and then you've got these tests. Someone made some people made lots of money.
Oh, bukus of money. It's a big money maker. All drugs are a money maker. I always wondered about this. So you would have like a president of the United States, his wife would be on a campaign saying, say no to drugs, say no. Why didn't he get rid of it? And it's just like children who are they're sex slaves. Children. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able, if somebody did something to a kid that I know, it would be hard on me to say I forgive them. It would be very, very, I would say, you devil, you deserve what you get. Right. Because some people, I think, are just possessed with demons.
They are. Do you remember in the early days of COVID, and I do, I remember the first 2 weeks. I mean, I did a video all by myself. I lip-synced the Celine Dion all by myself, and I had like 5 of me behind me because they were all my characters with me because I was stuck in my apartment. And you know, you had to go out. If you went out, you had to have face covering. And those days, it didn't matter what face covering you had. I had an old sock. I just cleaned it up and had 2 holes cut over it and went in there. And I said to someone at work, you know, when we were talking on meeting, I said, one day someone's going to come on saying, this is not, you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do this. This is the only thing you can have. And it got to that point, you go like, okay, so who has invested the money in the mask companies to make the money, because this is the only one they're going to recommend and this is the only one you can wear? Because that's all it's about, is someone's going to be making money out of this.
Yes. If they really felt that way, we would have been wearing something much more structured. It would have been these things that, you know, they're made out of metal that you would be wearing. Rick, I see what time it is. We're going to have to go. What would you like to say to everybody before we go? 1 minute.
Stay safe out there. Watch your back. And don't believe everything you see or hear, even on video and TV now, because AI is very, very good.
Well, it most certainly is. Except when Kamala Harris was running for president, it wasn't so good then. You know, the makeup crowds, the fake crowds, the same guy jumping, turning flips over and over and all that. That wasn't real. We was shown of that. But Rick, thank you so much for being on the show with me. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Continue sending in. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Thank you so much.